The ghost uses a rope to pull up the maid's shirt. Just then, the lady and her husband come back home. The lady sees the scene and gets scared. She drops the trash on the floor. The ghost quickly disappears. When the husband sees the trash on the ground, he gets angry and says to the maid, "What is this? I told you to clean the house." The lady quickly cuts the rope tied to the maid's shirt. The maid gets nervous and says, "I cleaned the whole house. I don't know what happened here." The wife comes close and smiles. "My dear, you're going to finish the rest of the cleaning, right?" Just then, the husband gets an important phone call and goes aside to answer it. The wife looks at the maid angrily and says in a low voice, "Now tell me, what was all that?" The maid shakes in fear and says, "I wasn't doing anything. I swear I don't know what happened." The wife says sharply, "Be careful. I'm watching you very closely." Then she walks away in anger. The maid nervously goes to her boss and says, "Sir, I need to tell you something important." The husband finishes the call and says, "Yes, what is it?" The maid hesitates and says, "It's about your wife." Just then, the wife sees the maid talking to her husband. She rushes to her room, tears her own shirt, starts crying. Then she goes to her husband and says, "My love, do you remember that blouse I lost? The one I really wanted to wear?" The husband says, "Yes, I remember." The wife says, "It's torn, and I found it in the maid's room." The husband is shocked and says, "What? Maid, can you explain this?" The maid trembles and says, "I don't know anything. It wasn't in my room." The husband shouts, "Then how did it get there?" The wife gently says, "My love, don't get angry. Let me talk to her. Maybe she has some explanation." The husband leaves the room. The maid tries to go, but the wife stops her and says angrily, "Wait, don't go anywhere. This is what you wanted to tell him, right?" The maid gathers courage and says, "I just wanted your husband to know the truth." The wife looks shocked and says, "What truth?" The maid says, "The truth about what you did to your husband's first wife, your own sister. Years ago, you spilled oil on her. When she tried to go down the stairs, she slipped in." The woman laughs and says, "Yes, and now I'm the real owner of this house. Everything here is mine." The maid looks at her in horror. The woman shouts, "If you tell my husband even one word, you'll face me. Remember, I'm the new lady of this house now." The maid picks up a photo of the first wife and says, "No, the real lady was your sister." The woman tears the photo and yells, "Shut up! Go and clean the whole house right now." The maid leaves. A little later, she comes back to the husband and says, "Sir, I found your wife's pregnancy test." The wife quickly grabs it and eats it. The husband is shocked. "What? What's going on?" The maid says, "Don't worry, I have another one." But the wife grabs a second test too. The husband looks confused and says, "I don't understand. What is happening here?" The wife points at the maid and says, "She ruins everything. I wanted to give you a surprise. You're going to be a father." But she spoiled it all. The husband becomes happy. Just then, the ghost of the first wife appears. She touches the maid's shoulder and says, "It's time. Tell the truth now." The maid gathers courage and shows the wounds on her back. The husband is shocked. "What is this? Who did this to you?" The maid says, "She did. Your wife." The wife quickly says, "My love, she must have fallen herself. You know how clumsy she is." The maid says, "No, stop lying. She hurt me because I know two truths. First, I saw what she did to your first wife. And second, she's been stealing your money, and she's not even pregnant." The husband gets very angry and says, "I can't believe you did this." The wife cries and says, "My love, don't believe her. She's lying." The maid says, "I'm not lying. If you don't believe me, check her clothes. She's hiding all your money inside them." Earlier, the wife had stolen the husband's money and hid it in her dress. When the husband checks, the money falls to the floor. The wife cries and begs for forgiveness, but the husband has seen her true face. He throws her out of the house and thanks the maid for revealing the truth.